Speaking. Okay,
Yeah.
please start.
Yes. Namaskar. Today I will speak about the biodiversity and wildlife of India, particularly Northeastern region. I was emphasizing the Northeastern region, give you a brief idea about the strength of biodiversity of India. So, India is a mega biodiversity country with 2.4% of the world land area, but harbors 7 to 8% of the all recorded biodiversity of the world, and it has got only 4% of the water. But out of the 34 global biodiversity hotspots, India has 4 hotspots. These hotspots indicate the concentration of biodiversity, but the threat perspectives are also very high, and endemism is also very high. Now, these areas, hotspots are the Himalayas, the Indo-Burma, the Western Ghats, and the Nicobar Islands. This is broadly I am telling, but there are some extension of these spots here and there. Now, India is house. Now, what is biodiversity? We can talk a bit about it. The biodiversity means the all life forms which are available in the landscape, and the country which is possessing that was they are the custodian of it. The a healthy life forms, these life forms can provide us foods and fodders, then regulatory services like the climate change or local climate change. It regulates, it helps in soil formation, aesthetic value, spiritual value, etc. etc. Apart from the economics and all other component, the biodiversity touches all spheres of life, all spheres of economic activity. We cannot say this part is not with biodiversity. So this is a very strong resources which India is the custodian. Now, I just give you a brief idea how India feathers. India is the house of more than 47,500 species of plants, out of which 4,900 are endemic. That means this is found only in these areas. And around 1500 are facing various degrees of threat for extinction. Of the some of the plant species will go away, will be extinct. So that means the genetical variety which is there in it will go extinct. Apart from that, around 81,000 species of animals are reported from India, out of which 62% are endemic to India. India is also a home for the large variety of cultivated plants and domesticated plants. Now, the domesticated plants are that means wild varieties of cultivated plants are also there. So what is important is to understand that the India, whatever material we have got the very rich culture of cultivation. So very large number of wild varieties of cultivated materials has been domesticated. And out of these domesticated materials, the economics percolates. Now, the level of endemism, one very interesting thing is there. Out of about 4,054, 4,045 species of flowering plants, that means angiosperm, advanced plants, endemic to India. And in terms of endemism of other animals, in the vertebrate groups, animal groups, India is global ranking 10th in birds, 69 species, 69 with 69 species, 5th in reptiles with 156 species, and 7th in amphibians with 110 species. Most importantly, India is the origin of the cultivated plants. India has 15 agroclimatic zones and index zones. These zones are the centers of the origin of number of plants specific to these types of areas. It is also considered to be the primary center of the origin of the rice. Apart from that, a total number of 811 cultivated plants and 902 of their wild relatives have been documented so far in India. Now, the interesting thing is that whatever in Indian context, whatever in arid zones will get, it will not be distributed everywhere. And whatever you get in the northeastern parts of India, which is a Himalayan range, it will not be available in other parts of India. That's why the contribution of Indian biodiversity is a resource which is genetical resource, which is the storehouse of the genetical resources of the plants and animals. This can, in due course, it can be cultivated. It may not be cultivated, whatever it is, but it remains in the wild. It will have the future chance of cultivation. This is the most important issue which we'll discuss today. Now, importantly, that how the biodiversity is present. What is the form? So biodiversity is the main player in the ecosystems. So what is ecosystem? Ecosystems is like a system which it is like a cooperative system. With the help of the abiotic, biotic, and gaseous cycles and hydrological cycles, a system works. Biodiversity are their members, like the forest ecosystem. In forest ecosystem, plants are individually life, but when they combine together, it forms a systems. And in these systems, plants are biodiversity, and when the plants are there, birds will be there, insects will be there, and plants life in the soil. Microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, fungus, these are all a part of the system. So through this, energy circulates. So plants grow of its own. We do not put anything except the seed. Seed comes of its own. Human labors are very less. So ecosystems, when it forms, it offers services. So ecosystem services is free to us. Like we are getting water, we are getting oxygen, we are getting nutrients from the plant resources. The plants and animal plants has got a tremendous potential to break down the pollutants and absorb them. And maintenance of the ecosystem is the responsibility of the system itself. So if you remove some of the plants from there, then you will readjust accordingly. But the stability may be a bit disturbed. So if the stability is there in an ecosystem, it will continue to support the ecosystem services. You'll be surprised to know that the non-timber forest produce, a lot of people are surviving on this non-timber forest produce, NTFP. So this women is 80% of the women are depending on going to the forest, bringing a material and selling them. Similarly, during the COVID period, we have seen how the people are surviving through vegetation in northeastern region, maybe in all parts of India. They go to the forest, go to the wetlands, bring the material, sell them, and get their things. So if we divide ecosystems, broadly you can say we have got forest ecosystem, we have got wetland ecosystems, which will cover rivers and wetlands. We have got grassland ecosystems, and the combination of all of them, coupling of the different types of ecosystems. So these unique systems has got their own players, like the football team had got a football players, cricket team has got a cricket players. Similarly, a cricket player cannot play in football game. So these are very specialized. So India is that fortunate group where a diversity of ecosystems are there. If you cross a few kilometers, you will get different types of systems. So climatic individuality, specialized in something, is very, very essential to understand. So if we handle if we cannot handle this biodiversity and ecosystem services properly, we'll be poor. Within no time, nothing will be there. Artificial activities will not be, cannot support us on this population. Now, the normally biological resources which are there, which are the resource, but the biodiversity is the genetical material, and with the genetical material which are in stock in our area, in the forested area. We can anytime we can take out. So sometimes we say in earlier years we have seen that there is a drought somewhere. So in other states, the fodder will be available that can grow through trains. I remember on this. The fodder was transported from one area to the other. So the protected areas which are available in India, I'll talk about this in Northeastern region. In India, these are very important reservoir of the different types of nutrients, either food, fodder, fruits, everything. Now, the issue is, it is found that the genetical diversity helps to prevent the chances of extinction of the wild. If the variations are there, more variations are there, it is a better chance that it will be surviving. Now, another interesting thing is that the more the diversity of the plant resources, more the food items can be explored. The diversity is more, it will offer an opportunity to explore anything in that area. Now, we'll come to, because in Indian context, another component is very important, is the marine biodiversity. India has got around 5,000 kilometers of long coastal area and 200 exclusive economic zone. This marine biodiversity is very important for the nutrition, and the marine algae has got very high nutrition. So these can be nutraceutical industries. The marine products are in great demand in the world. So there are in Andhra Pradesh, some of the areas where they are flooded during the storm or this tornado or whatever it is. So these areas where the fishes were there, now people have started cultivating the marine materials, marine food items, which has got tremendous potential. So in one side, we have got rivers and streams and wetlands, which are freshwater. And another side, like the Chilka Lake in Odisha, which has got one part of the story is marine, another part is the mixture between the marine water and the fresh water, and the last part is the fresh water. So this combination of three combination has given opportunity for different types of species to grow. This is an excellent contest. Now, I also tell you right now that India has around 120 plus forest types as per the Chapman and Shetty. But this always some modifications will be here and there. Some plant will germinate. The name may be a bit changed here and there. Similarly, in that context, the forest areas are the most important contributor of the water. What is the main contribution of forest? It is not the food, it is not the climate, it is the water. Now, the Narmada is not fed by the Himalayan rivers. So it is from the Madhya Pradesh, which the plantations are there, when the whole water is coming from that area. So forest main product is the capacity to produce water. They retain water, they can release water gradually, slowly. They can retain it. So under this context, we have to understand that if you do not have any cultural strong background, you cannot protect this animal, plants and animals. So fortunately, India is a country which has got a tremendous background of the potentiality of protection. Now, there was an UN General Assembly in 65th session, it was discussed about the UN General 61st session, about the sustainable development. In Indian context, it is said, the Vedic philosophy of India has always emphasized the human connection with the nature. Vaidism is a way of life based on the scriptures called Aranyak, which were written by sages who lived in the forest. The Mahabharata, Ramayana, Vedas, Upanishads, Gitas, Puranas, and the Smriti contain some of the earliest messages of the ecological balance and the need for the people's ethical treatment of nature. They emphasize harmony with the nature and recognize that all natural elements hold divinity. So this was the types of people's recognition, the Indian cultural ethos, which has been recognized. If you recognize even in the tribal communities, we have seen in the tribal community, they have got the arts sector, that means ethno art, ethno agriculture, ethno housing. So all these ethno components are very interesting, and they have contributed enormously in the protection of species. If one species is required for a painting, these species they will protect. You need not have to tell anybody, the government come and try to protect it. The community themselves will protect it. And what happens during this in the tribal areas, which is the communities, the community which are lived their life in the forested areas, in the non-urban areas. So they have developed the survival strategies through nature. And their lifestyle is also very different, which is not very common. In the contrary to that, if you go to a township, cities, it is the melting points of everything. You cannot trace out the culture. So that becomes an issue with the cultural on the big thought process which are coming into from the urban areas can help the biodiversity protection, which is the genetical resources, which has got a future, or all these people, those who have got traditional knowledge system, traditional scientific knowledge system, traditional ecological knowledge system, can they help us in protecting them? So with this background, I wanted to talk more about our part of the India. This is northeastern states. I hope that it will be a great advantage to talk about this region. Now, you see, in Indian context, we have got 15 agroeconomic zones. And out of this, northeastern region is one of them. Let us say broadly, which is with an 260,000 square kilometer, and with 8 states: Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Sikkim, and Meghalaya. 8% of the land area of India, and 3.8% of the population of India, with 98% of the international border with China, Bhutan, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. So this is the landscape. Now you see, under this landscape, which is also very interesting to identify, that this is a part of the Indian characteristics. There are two major plateaus, Meghalaya Plateau and Karbi Plateaus. The hills and mountains, a Himalayan mountainous region, then inner Himalayan region, which is of course glacial and periglacial, then lesser Himalayan region, and also eastern hills like the Dibong Lohit and Patkai Tirap, Nagaland, North Kachar area. And of course, the Manipur hills and Mizoram Tripura range. But interestingly, the hills are not the characteristics alone. The plains are important. The Brahmaputra plains, which has got again few parts, the Babbar Tarai belt, and the northern built-up belt strips, and the Brahmaputra floodplain. And then southern built-up strips and southern foothills zones. Another one is that at intermontane and Piedmont plains like the Manipur Basin, Borak Valley, and Tripura Valley. There are three valleys which are smaller. These three valleys, like the Imphal Valley, Borak Valley, we normally say Imphal Valley, not the Manipur Basin, instead of that. Imphal Valley, Borak Valley, and Tripura Valley. Rest are all hills. So Brahmaputra Valley is the largest valley in northeastern part of India. And out of this, we have got around 54 types of forests, which I told you around 120. 50% of the forest types are found in northeastern part of India. Out of which 9 important vegetation types, forest types are there. These are the tropical moist deciduous forest, tropical semi-evergreen forest, tropical wet evergreen forest, subtropical forest, temperate forest, alpine forest. Now, interestingly, these forests are scattered all around, and the geographical location of the northeastern states is so interesting. The northeastern part of India is so interesting. There is location, geographical location, and geomorphological formation is supported the hill formation and plain formations. If you cut it down and place it somewhere else, these characteristics will change. So the migratory from Myanmar, these animals also have got the similar characteristics of the plants and animals of that region. Now you see, apart from this forest area, we have got within this forest area, we harbor around 8,000 out of 15,000 species of flowering plants in India. Tentatively 15,000 plus and minus. Around 8,000 flowering, 50% of the flowering plants, which are advanced plants, are found in northeastern region. And now another, of course, is a scientific component, but still we have to say around 40 out of 54 species of gymnosperms, 500 out of 1,012 species of pteridophytes, 825 out of 1,145 species of orchids, 80 out of 90 species of rhododendrons, which are high altitudinal trees, particularly in Barsay rhododendron sanctuary in Arunachal Pradesh upper reaches. These rhododendrons are there. And then another one, 60 out of 110 species of bamboos, 25 out of 56 species of canes. This is a very rough idea I am giving you. Now, the issue is how this region has, what is the characteristics? So the characteristics of plants and animals of this area has got the Indo-Malayan characteristics, Indo-Chinese characteristics, and Indian proper characteristics. So this is a confluent zone of number of characteristics of the plants and animals. So genetical diversity is very high, because even in these Japanese elements are also found in this Sikkim. And there are some primitive plant species, the evolutionary primitive plant species, like the tree ferns or magnoliaceae, some cycas. So these are the groups of plants which are indicative of the primitiveness of this area. And also, this region houses, this is what I have told you, the region is located at the junction of the Indian, Indo-Burma, and Malaysia and Indo-Chinese region. Now, most important issue is that the hotspot, which is Himalayan hotspot, which I told you earlier, this eastern region of this hotspot, Eastern Himalayas, is called Eastern Himalayas area. But actually this Himalayan hotspot biodiversity also starts from Kashmir. It crosses down towards through Nepal and Charai area. It comes to Bhutan, then to Arunachal Pradesh, and northern side of Brahmaputra. So this is the Eastern Himalayan region. What interesting is south of Brahmaputra and covering Indo-Burma region, other region, and whole of northeastern side comes under Indo-Burma. So there are two hotspots are touching Assam. and northeastern states. Two hotspots. These are internationally recognized hotspots. So naturally, you are expected to get biological diversity very high. Now, another issue is this region is called the origin of citrus. That's when the lemon one. In the Nokrek Biosphere Reserve, these original mother plants are still available. This biosphere, it has been declared as a biosphere reserve because of this original of the genetical material, the citrus. Now, this is also seems to be the origin of the banana and rice varieties. Now, another issue is, as soon as you talk in terms of rice varieties, where are they available? Rice is a grass. So if there is no grassland, but the rice will be there. Rice cannot be hilly rice. Of course, the smaller ones are there. Smaller ones are there. But if we do not have some protected areas, we cannot protect all these types of things because so much of population pressure and the infrastructure development issues. But unless and until we touch the development to culture, if we do not touch the culture in the development process, we will miss the bus. The whole thing will be barren. The climate change, we'll have to fight climate change in one side. We have to fight in the development issue in the other side. So under this context, if we find out what are the species available in this one, which is of great international importance, even for tourism purposes, or say endemic species which could have future in biotechnological issues and this that innovation and now new type of innovations can be developed from the genetical resources. These are all possible. So I will only talk about some of the, I will start to talk about some animals. Now, the fauna is important. The reason is the fauna can move around. And fauna individual genetical materials are there, it has got its own role to play. Now, when the plants are static, fauna remains dominating, it moves around one another. So this becomes all faunas are indicator species of the health of a system. If in an urban area, we have got in urban area around 40 species of birds. This place is larger than some of the countries in Europe. So in a city, around 40 wild mammals are there. Forget about amphibian and rodents. In a city itself. So if it gets the advantage of the whole of the climatic situation, this climatic zone which is monsoon dominated and very high quality, very good quality of soil, and mesothermal, margi, winter dry, Brahmaputra type of climate. That means moderate temperature, high rainfall zone, high humidity, and margi, winter dry, during winter and not supposed to rain. So this shapes the culture, shapes the biodiversity, shapes everything. Now, if we talk about birds, say, what is the types of birds which is available and why birds are there? Because birds are the most important indicator of the health of the system. They can fly away if they don't like it, like butterflies. So there are two migratory routes which are coming to India, which is called Central Asian flyway. During winter, particularly during this October, later part of October onward, it starts migrating. So because the overwintering, they wanted to cover the wintering is in Siberia, Central Asia, and part of China. These are so cold. So then they don't get food, and the life cycle cannot be complete. So they start migrating. So the best comfortable zone is India, which is called Central Asian flyway. Through Central Asian flyway, they move into Indian context, and they scatter all around. They go to appropriate places, not for breeding, but for specifically for overwintering purposes. So in northeastern region, there is another issue. There are another migratory route is there, which is called one is the Central Asian flyway, which covers northeastern region. Another is East Asian Australian flyway. That means it is going to east and then in going up to Australia. Even that portion of a part of eastern region is being covered. So some of the birds which are migrating towards Australia, they will come and settle here for some time in Kaziranga, Debu Saukua. These are the wetlands which will get settled and then go to Australia. While coming back also, they will settle down and come back. So if we think in terms of birds only, which has got the capacity to give an indicator, very strong indicator of the system, we'll see out of around 1,200 bird species in India, around 900 is found in this region, 850 plus. Some new species are also being discovered now. So you see the condition of this location, altitudinal gradient, then cultural uniqueness, and also the rivers and plains all have created a unique opportunity for the biodiversity flower, including migratory one. The local migratory, high altitude and low altitude migrants are there. So this is about birds. Another portion internationally, Assam Valley, there is a word called Assam Valley, endemic birds, which are found in some specific areas. So this Assam Valley is internationally recognized as one of the important bird area, the endemic bird area. And few species are found only in this location. So these are extremely important. Manipur bush quail, called parrotbill, something like that, truth. So this is about birds, because this gives us a better indication of the health, because this kid can go whatever it likes. It comes in the winter, stay in the winter, don't disturb. They are mainly vegetarians. Their ducks are there, NRTD group ducks, and other groups are also there. Large number of bird species like the bar-headed geese, grey-legged geese, then shoveler, then pochard, ballard. These are all comes here. They come scattered all around in the Brahmaputra Valley, including wetlands and river systems. So they move around here, there, apart from Kaziranga and all these big areas. Another issue is, this area is very rich in mammalian fauna. These are important species are available in this area, particularly the primates group. Primates means we are also human beings, also primates. So we are human primates. There are non-human primates like the monkeys, apes, etc. These are extremely important for us in this region, because only one ape found in India, which is called the Hulu gibbon, which is found in northeastern region. So this is only 5% genetical difference with human beings. Of course, we don't have gorillas, chimpanzee, and etc., but they have got a connection is lesser. So these groups are found in this region. This gives us a very clear picture that the behavior of these animals, and we have to learn from them, because they use food plants, around 400 food plants, leaves, barks, etc. for the Hulu gibbon. They eat, and during the breeding season, they eat differently. So they are giving us some indications of the types of future food possibly available for us, which they have tested. Apart from that, we have got another group which is called the langur group, long-tailed. These are leaf eaters. There are a large number of langur group species, are the golden langur, then the Cape langur. These are all there. And fiery slim monkey, there's a spectacle monkey. This is, of course, a langur. Then we have got another one, which is called the macaque groups. Macaque is the main monkey which you see normally. The Hanuman langur, which is there, is not found in this region. Hanuman langur is found throughout India. They have got now genetically, which is found a large number of species are there. But in northeastern region, we don't have Hanuman langur, but we have got other langurs like the golden langur, Cape langur. Golden langur is one of the most important threatened species out of 25 threatened species in the world. So it is there. Now, another issue is, we have got among the mammals, like the macaques I was telling you. Macaque is a common monkey. But these monkeys are different, which is a common rhesus monkey, which is found in the townships. We have got an Assamese macaque, which is different from this one, which is found in one of the temple area. Otherwise, they are in the forest. Another is the pigtail macaque and stump-tailed macaque. There are 4 types of macaque. Stump-tailed macaque, there is a group, move in groups. in some of the protected areas it is found. And what is called the Cape, this pigtail macaque is also found in this region. And another one is important is about the mammals is the tiger. In the mammals, tiger is attained a very interesting position. The tiger is the Schedule 1 species. Through tiger, the tiger protected area has been developed. The extension is tiger areas, project tiger areas. So normally the protected areas, the tiger areas, tiger can move around here and there outside the protected area. So there. Tiger is a very important species with the ecological indicator. When the tigers are there, the whole system is working. This indicates the whole systems are working. That means tiger is a meat eater, carnivore. So you want meat. The quantity of meat should be huge. So the meat eaters are, when they're meat eater, the deer must, plenty of deer population must be there in that location. So tiger is an indicator. Another species which is also important for us, of course, the other things are there. Rhinoceros, goat, then swan deer, binturong, clouded leopard, fishing cat, marble cat, pygmy hog. A lot of species are there, but few of the species are I wanted to mention here, because like the elephant, say around in India, around 27,000 elephants are there. It's a living heritage animal. It is associated with our culture for a very, very long time, from Mahabharata and other ideas, and it has got a linkage, our cultural linkage with different types of countries, Southeast Asia, including China. So the Ganesha's scripts are found in all these areas, and they have got a different types of respect systems for the elephants. So elephants in northeastern region, around in Assam, around 6,000 elephants are there. And Arunachal also around more than thousands are there, scattered around. So if you see wherever the elephants are there, these have to be fed. So there is no program for feeding elephants by government of India or government of Assam, government of Arunachal Pradesh. Who feeds them? So it is the nature which is feeding them. And this species is a ecological keystone species. That means it moves during after this rainfall. It will be difficult to enter into the forest area. So the elephant moves and they break down branches. Through the branches, fruits will fall down. The other species will take that food. Otherwise, it is not accessible to them. Elephant moves and it takes a lot of quantity of food, like around 200 kg per day. So this 200 kg will have to be, the digestion capacity is very less, around 40-50% digestion capacity. To defecates, when they defecate 18 to 20 times, that becomes an ecosystem by itself. The defecated material. The insects lay eggs there, the larvae will come out, maggots will come out, the birds will come, and then birds will come and then they will lay eggs. All these protein circulations are available with that. This protein is supplied. Another point I wanted to tell you right now is that tiger has attained such a good position in the conservation world. Elephant is also contributing enough because it has been protected, but the elephant has got a distinct, but the elephant corridors are there. So when you have disturbed the corridor, elephants become disturbed and they cannot live there properly. So they destroy crops here and there. These are the common things now. Now, what happened if we can identify an elephant as a keystone species, ecological species? Similar is the case with the termite queen or the bee queens, because they are also producing enormous number of these larvae and these eggs and the young ones. They are pollinating and they are maintaining the system. If there is no pollinator, 50% of the plants and animals will be in trouble. So we have seen that in Mizoram, the termite queen, they produce young ones and they fly, and the birds will get their protein from these termites. So that ecological relationship in the food systems everywhere are so nice that the one helps the other. The government cannot protect all this. Government is not to do anything. Government is just to see that things are working, ecosystems are working properly. So in this context, I will also see that the rhinos or the Royal Bengal tiger, rhinos, and gore. Gore is a boss goras. And this is they call it Indian bison, but this is gore is the right word, which has got a record of the prehistoric period in Indian context. Another one is species which I wanted to mention about the swamp deer, which is one of the subspecies found in Kaziranga. This is the last stronghold of the subspecies in Kaziranga. Maybe on thousands are there. If you cannot have a protection mechanism for this, it will grow from the world. So another species is there in Manipur, which is the Shanghai blue antler deer. That is in the Loktak Lake area, Kabul Anjao National Park. This is the last stronghold of a species in one area. In zoos, it may be there, but these are all gone from there, from the wild. Similarly, you see, it's like in Arunachal Pradesh, Mispitakin, wild goats, Shero and Mispitakin, these are all wild goats. Shero is found in other parts, big size, and they are become domesticated to have our or Boral, Loyam. These are the four types of wild goats are available in the high altitude areas. And they are also migratory. Mispitakin, these are also migratory. They go during winter, they migrate lower reaches and then go up. So now you see, we have got other groups of animals in this area. Another group of animal is the dolphin, Shishu. This is the national wet aquatic animal. One is the elephant. Elephant is our ecologically, historically living. This is culturally living heritage animal. But this one is the national aquatic animal. It is a mammal, but it is an aquatic mammal. It is found in Brahmaputra also. Around 800 will be available as per the records. But they are blind and they are living through echo sound they produce and they live like that. Apart from the cat groups, which is the tiger is a cat group, leopard is a cat, these are all Schedule 1 species, very important species. But we have got other cats, fishing cat, marble cat, and fishing crowded leopard, etc., etc. There are 9 species of these cats are available. Now, one more species I want to mention about which is called the pygmy hog. This is the only success story in India which was found in the grassland, but very small hog. It was almost going to be extinct. So this has been conservation breeding program. It has been very successful in India, and one of the most strong success story is the conservation breeding pygmy hog. Now these species are an indicator species. If you can save this one, the other grassland species also will be saved. And all the grassland species are like some of the birds which around 13, 14 birds which are completely they depend upon grasslands out of only. So the issue is the critically endangered species of this species are plenty are available in this region, or endangered species at the moment. We have got a separate stock for it. These are genetically so we cannot afford to lose them. Now, another issue is particularly about the plant resources. Some of the plant resources are restricted to some of the only specific locations. Like I told you this endangered the primitive species, or some species which are found only in the water areas. So these species are critical for the and demands a strong protection. So this has to be identified. This has been already been identified. This will have to be taken care of. Now, all this which are talking about the plants and animals and amphibians and reptiles. This amphibians and reptiles, amphibians are the frogs and toads and frogs. So these are very important indicator of the health of the system, because the climate change indicator is the best is the amphibians, because their body skin is moist, their egg do not have any shell, immediately they can respond to the changes of the climate change. So in the climate change, the amphibians are the indicator of the health of the system. Now another issue is that there are some projects which are on in the Arunachal Pradesh, which found that the tree lines are moving upward. So as soon as the tree line moves upward, the problem arises. Some of the species which are depending on the particular temperature, they will migrate. Possibly some of the mammals will migrate to upper reaches. The distribution range will be a bit changed. So all this can be studied through the biodiversity only. Now I'll come to another point, that those who are accustomed to the northeastern region, for that matter Indian communities in the tribal areas, will understand that the communities of the northeastern region, which is called a cultural mosaic. So we have got a biodiversity landscape, biodiversity systems, and then overall over that is the cultural mosaic, which is one of the more than 230 types of tribal populations or communities are in the northeastern region. We call it Janajatis. This coin, or the tribal coin, came in a very odd fashion. So Janajatis is the right word. But they have got their unique cultural landscape related cultural evolved. They know how to survive. There is no communication between one area to the other. So how they know how to survive in a particular area? Through a cultural segment. In that sense, the individual faiths were also developed, like the Rangphara or the Donapolo or the Namtre, or a large number of other things are there. So these faith systems have got a lifestyle systems which are involved in it, respecting origin of their faith, their lifestyle, everything has been dictated in these types of terms. And they've got another advantage, that the traditional institutional structures are there. Gorabe, these are a number of, all communities have got their original traditional structures. And in northeastern region, the different acts are, in Nagaland, one type of act, constitutional provisions has been given. In different states has got different types of provision. In what we discussed today. But you remember, they have got, the community has got their own land. Only even Meghalaya, 4% land forest lands are with the forest department. Rest are with the community. So you have to go to them. The Nokmas are controlling them. Only 25-30 Nokmas are there. They have got the systems sufficient. They decide whether the Jung cultivation will be where it should be there. Similar is the case in Nagaland, almost all states. And in Mizoram, still we have got this. We know that the sacred groups. Sacred groups are very interesting, because these are the land, forest area, which are groups, forest area, sacred groups. Of course, not necessarily all the sacred area as forest only. There are other types of sacred areas, sacred rivers, sacred trees, sacred stones. These are all there. But sacred forests are very important, because people, you can go there and you can eat something also, but you are not allowed to take it out. So in India, around possibly roughly more than 17,000, I've got a record, 17,000 sacred groups all around, throughout India. So it is not new to northeastern region. All communities have got sacred groups, sacred forests, sacred trees, sacred area. This sacred to a landscape, to a component, to a nature's component, right? The river, stream, etc., is guiding our lifestyle. So, if we miss this, the development through culture is the issue. So, all this development which are fighting as of now, the linear infrastructure development, or the bridges, or this. So, under the linear development is very extremely important for the Arunachal Pradesh, for the defense region, for other region, communication region. But equally important is to give a avenue plantation. So avenue plantation also there are systems which find out which plant to be planted, which trees to be planted. So there are guidelines. High score plantations of a particular area is important. Now avenue plantation is important to not only save the species and giving the shade to the animals and plants and the fruiting plants, but also save the roads, because it prevents roads from getting hot, and the life will be reduced. So these are the types of plantations along with the infrastructure is developing. Now even in Kaziranga, now we are having around 32 kilometers of over bridges. The elephants are migrating. The other animals are sitting during the flood period. They move out to Karbi Along area. And in the Karbi Along area, this is one of the biggest districts in Assam, which is a Kotutu district. It's bigger than Tripura, has got enormous cultural elements, which are to protect elements. All people of this region has got very interesting lifestyle, culture-dependent lifestyle, and enormous component. Hidden materials are available, which is not explored yet, which I have seen. Now the issue is sometimes the people, we call it the festivals of the tribal festival, around 400 plus will be there in northeastern region. But festival is the watchdog of the culture. If the culture is lost, then the whole homogenization will there. Now some of the boys, or younger boys, are moving out, going out of their own cultural setup. They cannot come back to their place during any festival time. So there must be a provision of the cultural component of this year to be observed in the township and cities by the young boys. Otherwise, these linkages will be lost. Only recording and other thing is not enough. Now, in the last part, I wanted to give you an idea. The types of government of India and government of Assam or government of Arunachal, all government is doing something about this biodiversity. So we have got a Biodiversity Act, 1972. We have got this Biodiversity Act and biodiversity rules. We have got Wildlife Act and wildlife rules. We have got national biodiversity authorities. So all these authorities involved are there. Everybody is wanted to protect. The government has declared a lot of sanctuaries, national parks, and community conserve areas, conservation reserves, Ramsar site. In the northeastern region, we have got 3 Ramsar sites. One is the Diporbil Ramsar site, wetland. These are related to wetland. And wetland biodiversity is very different from this conventional forest biodiversity. Their life cycles are short. And the people want that water to be used for their purpose. So this is a very important issue that one is the Loktak. Loktak is a Ramsar site. Diporbil is the Ramsar site. One is in Tripura. There are 3 Ramsar sites in this region, but this Ramsar site is internationally recognized organization. We have to save them. If we wanted to save and protect them, we have to have a management plan for it. So this is an important issue. Now I wanted to come to another issue, which before concluding, is we know about the ecological keystone species, but we have got no idea about the cultural keystone species. The cultural keystone species are extremely important for any community, particularly the tribal communities areas. They give emphasis on the specific plants or animals, which has got a diverse cultural values, which are in turn has got an economic value. So the cultural keystone species and it can be defined like this. Defined them as the culturally salient species that shaped in a major way the cultural identity of a people, as reflected in the fundamental rules these species have in diet, material, medicine, or in spiritual practices. Recently, others have denoted culturally significant species as keystone. So this has been found as the keystone species. So it is very important to understand that keystone species to find out. So we have got one or two examples here. In the Singpho community, Lupo, Kopat, in earlier days, the youth of the village used to go for gathering of the wild vegetables and Lupo, Kopat, rampant rampant deforestation in the inhabited area, and also effect on the tradition of going for collection of the wild vegetables and medicinal herbs, and the practices of making traditional rice beers with the medicinal herbs. These leaf. Now there is a talk about the having a botanical garden to preserve the medicinal herbs. People also feel that the lupo, must be planted in the trees as well. So this is a very interesting suggestions which has been given, that these types of component, which is the keystone species, or can be another keystone species we can found out is the poison, a species of oak, Quercus griffithii, a species of oak, is a keystone species in the sustainable agricultural system management in livelihood. So this leaf is helping in the traditional cropping systems of the 11 crops. Only one leaf of these plants, their leaves of these plants are used in the cultivation of the trees plant. This becomes a keystone species. This becomes a cultural keystone species. Another one is like we cannot put bamboo is a cultural keystone species in the sense, because bamboo is life and of the people, and the bamboo is intermingled in so much that we cannot put them in the cultural component. They are life and bamboo, bamboo gives the life side of them. Another one is of course the mithun, which is of course a different species than gourd. Species is different, genus is same, but the mithun has more of the religious and cultural functions, and is a resource of the community. It depends upon how healthy. The mithun is found in both Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, and also in Manipur and Mizoram also. So mithun has got its own value, but we are not putting them into the cultural keystone species. So it is very important to find out more of the cultural keystone species in this region. Now, so what is the issue now? If we have got the tremendous biodiversity within the protected area, like I take an example of Kaziranga. Kaziranga has got a grassland. Manos has got a grassland. So what is the use of grassland? The rice varieties are grow in the grassland area. Rice is a grass. So wild varieties of rice, wild varieties of other plants, wild varieties, a lot of things are available in the protected areas. So when we talk about rhino being killed, we shout, everybody shouts. So it is very important to shout for it, because as soon as the rhino get the better protection, all species get similar protection. 500 species of birds are there in Kaziranga. So all the birds get there. So many insects varieties are there. Thousands of insect varieties, all get the genetical varieties are there. Plenty of genetical material in plants. This is a reserve bank of biodiversity. These are banks of gene. So you will have to be protected in proper sense, the biodiversity. Now the issue is, if we go on talking about it in various, you can touch any subject, the biodiversity comes into the picture. If you go to people talk about the poems, beautiful poems on the flowers, this. These are all plant life. And you see, and the pollinators. If the pollinators are not there in the orchards, of the apple orchards in Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh, they are depending upon the flowering of the pollinators. So this whole economy is associated with it. And moreover, the 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 types of mango varieties, type of banana varieties, these are all has got its own future, economic future. Now, genetically, people say genetically modified organism, it is not necessarily be good, but gene editing is coming into picture. You edit the genes and find out the bad, remove the bad one, good, use it. These are so much of things are happening. But one thing is sure, the biodiversity of 7 to 8% of biodiversity of India, which has been traditionally be respected. And we have got in Mahabharata Puranas, we have got long list of the different Puranas. What how many Varuna Purana, it has around 300 species of plants and animals name has been given. So different types of Purana we have checked. There are a lot of species name has been given. Or specifically, and how to handle them. And what is the type of punishment you cut down? Some punishment has been given. Punishment has been recorded. So it is always said that in Arthashastra it was said that the mining, agriculture is better than mining, because in mining you feel your treasure only, but in agriculture you feel your stomach as well as the treasure. So it is better. So agriculture must be handled in such a fashion that you get the food for everybody, whatever it is, and food for animals, fodder for animals. We have to respect them. We traditionally or culturally respecting them. It is not a new thing for us, not in Indian context. Those who do not respect them, they are alien to this culture. They are alien to the culture. We do not want homogenization in Arunachal Pradesh, homogenization in Northeastern region. Homogenization is a disaster. We have got unique diversity, and there is a unique communal, common management components are there. We are studying in Vivekananda Institute of Culture what is the commonalities between the different communities. We say surprisingly so many commonalities are there. But if you see the literature of the Northeastern region, everybody wanted to find out differences, difficulties, clash, everything. Out of 70% of the recorded which I have searched, found out that these what are the types of thing, and all these clashes are there. They wanted to, their brain was filled up with to find out the clashes were happening. But we are not there for this. We are hearing how the biodiversity can be saved. What is the traditional systems? We have got enough of archaeological evidence. We have got enough ethnic evidence. We have to take care of this. And a lot of things can be taken, talked about the biodiversity, different angles. Climate change angle, legal aspects, and economic aspect, everything can be done. But you remember if the one species is gone, this is also an indicator of the signal that we are in a trouble. If we do not find out a species which has been lost in our eye, that means we are not there. Our educations are not very successful. We are not could not attain the time. We must respect the cultural components. We must try to preserve the recorded and propagate and discuss with it in all spheres. Thank you very much.